I just tanked my credit score. I'm going to tell you why it was one of the best things for me to do and how I'm going to raise my credit score once again. Let's go ahead and break it down. Now, if you're watching this video, you probably already know what a credit score is. It is a score, a calculation based on how well you pay off your debts. Well, some people use the credit score to signify wealth, and that it is the greatest thing that you can do is try to achieve that perfect credit score. And I was close. I was extremely close. I think the highest I got was an 807 out of about 850, and I had to tank it. I had to lose a bunch of points, and it was the best thing for me, and here's why. So I'm a homeowner, as many of you know, and last I checked, your mortgage is the minimum that you pay. Okay, it is the minimum. It is not the maximum. And this year we ran into some stuff at the last quarter of the year. So one, my back deck, for whatever reason, had a gaping hole in it. So it looks like a few of the boards got rotten over the years, right? And I moved the chair fell through. Okay, it was a big hole, half the chair fell through, and I had to get somebody to come out and fix it, $2,500. And then shortly after, within the next 3 weeks, my wife's car died. And she had an old Lexus that we had, I don't want to say run to the ground, but it had well over 200,000 miles on it. It was time, and we had to go get another car. Now, when the deck went out, I looked, got some estimates, and said, all right, it's gonna be about $2,500. Not great, but I had an option, right? I had a choice. I could either A, apply for a new car with 0% interest for 15 months and just pay it off over time. I could B, sell a stock, perhaps pay taxes and pay for it that way and reduce my net worth that way. Or I could take the money out in cash and take that money and, reduce my savings to go ahead and pay off the debt. I chose to open the credit card, and it lowered my credit score because one, I opened a new line of credit, which is going to hurt your credit score anytime you open a new line of credit. And also you add a bit of debt, right? So you are judged on a few factors. I'm going to show this factor here on the screen for those who may not know. So 35% of your score is going to be based off of payment history. I think we know that. I pay my bills on time. That's going to be fine, right? And that's the majority of the score. The next part is the amount owed. So because now I added $2,500 on top of everything else that I normally pay down, well, that's extra, right? On top of the amount that was owed. Then the length of credit history. Here's where it probably hurt me the most. Now, I've had my credit card, my first credit card, since I graduated college. So we're talking like 11 to 12 years ago. Well, now, right, that's the longest one I've had. Well, now I open a new one, and we're taking the average length. So now you added a brand new card you've only had for a few months. That's going to really cut down on the average. That's where I got hurt. And then new credit, 10%. Just added a new line of credit. And then the types of credit in use, that is credit cards, mortgages, car loans, different types of loans in that way. So yeah, I got hurt for it, okay? But here's the thing. I have 15 months, 0% interest. I can pay it back and be completely debt-free, credit card debt-free, by doing so without reducing what I have in the stock market that has been growing quite well this year, and what's also in my savings, which is also growing quite well this year. We've done an entire video on savings accounts paying 4% and more. I didn't want to reduce either of those assets, paying 20% in the stock market right now, paying 4% in my savings account, to get something that is paying 0% in terms of paying for that debt. Now, when my wife's car broke down, I did have to actually pull from savings to pay for that, and we paid it off in cash because it was a used car. It was a good buy for us. But here's the thing. Had I not used the credit card for the debt, that might not have had enough cash, or had to pull from somewhere else to use for the car. That would have put me in a very precarious situation, because you obviously don't want to put a car purchase on a credit card. I don't even think you can do that. But that's not something that would have helped me. So what my job here, what I'm trying to do, is to make sure I can preserve my assets for as long as possible in case of an emergency. And only because it was a 0% credit card that I applied for and I had a good enough credit to get in the first place, that's the only reason I did it. Now, would I have opened a brand new card for 20% interest? No, that would not have made sense. But the main thing here is, I don't put my credit score out there as a point of pride, right? It doesn't really mean all that much to me. I use it for what I needed it for, to get a new card, and then I'm on to the next thing. The credit score does not represent my wealth in and of itself. It's really the debt that I can pay down, the money that I can build in my savings, the money that I can build in my stocks and all things like that, the true assets, not the score in and of itself. And we have to be very careful because we have talked about this in previous videos where we've seen people who, hey, I paid off a debt, I paid off my car, paid off X, Y, and Z, my credit score dropped, now I'm upset. That's not the goal here. That's not the goal here. So I could put the credit score aside and take a hit there because I got what I needed to get, right? I've got the deck fixed, which is a part of a home, which considered to most is an asset, right? And that if I want to sell the house in a year or 10 years or whenever, having a nice deck is going to help with that, right? So that is something that's going to help me in the long term, and to pay 0% interest was the right calculus for me. So I wanted to make sure that you guys know that the credit score isn't the end all be all, and there's sometimes where you're going to have to make sacrifices, strategic sacrifices when it comes to your finance to make what is going to be a better decision for the long term. You want to know more about credit scores and why I think most of us are fooled about how they work? You want to check out this video right here.